Fulfilled prophecies, Deuteronomy to Joel. As already announced in the video Prophecy from the Old Testament, the basics, this video deals with prophecies that have already been fulfilled. In addition to confirmation by texts in the Bible, the major events were also confirmed historically and archaeologically. Due to the large number of prophecies, only a small section is presented. These are arranged according to the books of the Bible. The Book of Deuteronomy. Prophecy, circa 1450 BC, the entry into the Promised Land by Joshua. And he gave Joshua the son of Nun a charge, and said, Be strong and of good courage, for thou shalt bring the children of Israel into the land, which I swore unto them, and I will be with thee. Deuteronomy 31:23. The fulfillment was 1406 to approximately 1375 BC, the crossing of the Jordan and capture of Canaan. And it came to pass, when the people removed from their tents to pass over Jordan, and the priests bearing the ark of the covenant before the people, and as they that bear the ark were come unto Jordan, and the feet of the priests that bear the ark were dipped in the brim of the water, for Jordan overflows all his banks all the time of harvest, that the waters which came down from above stood and rose up upon an heap very far from the city Edom, that is beside Zertain. And those that came down towards the sea of the plain, even the salt sea, failed and were cut off. And the people passed over right against Jericho. And the priests that bare the ark of the covenant of the Lord stood firm on dry ground in the midst of Jordan, and all the Israelites passed over on dry ground until all the people were passed clean over Jordan. Joshua 3:14-17. And the Lord gave unto Israel all the land which he sware to give unto their fathers. And they possessed it and dwelt therein. And the Lord gave them rest round about, according to all that he sware unto their fathers. And there stood not a man of all their enemies before them. The Lord delivered all their enemies unto their hand. There failed not aught of any good thing which the Lord had spoken unto the house of Israel. All came to pass. Joshua 21:43-45. Another prophecy is circa 1450 BC, cannibalism in Israel due to siege. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flies, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, and he shall besiege thee in all thy gates, until thy high and fenced walls came down, wherein thou trustest, throughout all thy land, and he shall besiege thee in all thy gates, throughout all thy land, which the Lord thy God has given thee. And thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body, the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters, which the Lord thy God has given thee, in the siege and in the straitness, wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children which he shall leave, so that he will not give to any of them the flesh of his children whom he shall eat, because he has nothing left him in the siege, and in the straitness, wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in all thy gates. And toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in the siege and straitness, whereas thine enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. Deuteronomy 28:49-57. The fulfillment was circa 844 BC in Samaria because of Ben-Hadad. And as the king of Israel was passing by upon the wall, there cried a woman unto him, saying, Help, my lord, O king. And he said, If the Lord do not help thee, when shall I help thee? out of the barn floor, or out of the winepress? And the king said unto her, What aileth thee? And she answered, This woman said unto me, Give thy son, that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. So we boiled my son, and did eat him. And I said unto her on the next day, Give thy son, that we may eat him. And she had hid her son. 2 Kings 6:26-29. The second fulfillment was 586 BC in Jerusalem because of Nebuchadnezzar. The hands of the pitiful woman have sodden their own children. They were their meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people. Lamentations 4:10. A third fulfillment was 70 AD in Jerusalem because of Titus. She then attempted a most unnatural thing and snatched up her son, who was a child sucking at her breast. She said, Oh, thou miserable infant, for whom shall I preserve thee in this war, this famine, and this sedition? As to the war with the Romans, if they preserve our lives, we must be slaves. This famine also will destroy us, even before that slavery comes upon us. Yet are these seditious rogues more terrible than both the other. Come on, be thou my food, and be thou fury to these seditious warlets, and be byword to the world, which is all that is now wanting to complete the calamities of us Jews. From Flavius Josephus, Wars of the Jews, Book 6. The Book of Joshua. The prophecy was circa 1400 BC. It was a curse against the one who rebuilds Jericho. And Joshua adjured them at that time, saying, Cursed be the man before the Lord that rises up and buildeth this city Jericho. He shall lay the foundation thereof in his firstborn, and in his youngest son shall he set up the gates of it. Joshua 6:26. The fulfillment was approximately 871 BC, and it was the death of the builder's son. In his days did Hiel the Bethelite build Jericho. He laid the foundations thereof in Abiram his firstborn, and set up the gates thereof in his youngest son Segub, according to the word of the Lord, which he spake by Joshua the son of Nun. 1 Kings 16:34. The book 1 Kings. A prophecy was circa 926 BC. Pagan priests are burned on the altar by Josiah. And behold, there came a man of God out of Judah by the word of the Lord unto Bethel, and Jeroboam stood by the altar to burn incense. And he cried against the altar in the word of the Lord, and said, O altar, thus says the Lord, Behold, a child shall be born unto the house of David, Josiah by name. And upon thee shall he offer the priests of the high places that burns incense upon thee, that men's bones shall be burned upon thee. And he gave a sign the same day, saying, This is the sign which the Lord hath spoken. Behold, the altar shall be rent, and the ashes that are upon it shall be poured out. 1 Kings 13:1-3. The fulfillment was circa 639 BC, when Josiah burned the bones on the altar. Moreover, the altar that was at Bethel, and the high place which Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin, had made, both that altar and the high place he broke down, and burned the high place, and stamped it small to powder, and burned the grove. And as Josiah turned himself, he spied the sepulchres that were there in the mount, and sent and took the bones out of the sepulchres, and burned them upon the altar, and polluted it, according to the word of the Lord, which the man of God proclaimed, who proclaimed these words. 2 King 23:15-16. Another prophecy was circa 870 BC, that Jezebel is to be devoured by dogs. And of Jezebel also spake the Lord, saying, The dogs shall eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel. 1 Kings 21 to 21:23. The fulfillment was approximately 845 BC, when Jezebel was devoured by dogs. And when Jehu was come to Jezreel, Jezebel heard of it, and she painted her face and tarred her head, and looked out at a window. And as Jehu entered into at the gate, she said, Has Zimri peace, who slew his master? And he lifted up his face to the window and said, Who is on my side? Who? And there looked out to him 2 or 3 eunuchs, and he said, Throw her down. So they threw her down, and some of her blood was sprinkled on the wall and on the horses. And he trod her underfoot. And when he was come in, he did eat and drink, and said, Go, see now this cursed woman, and bury her, for she is a king's daughter. And they went to bury her, but they found no more of her than the skull and the feet, and the palms of her hands. Wherefore they came again and told him. And he said, This is the word of the Lord, which he spake by his servant Elijah the Tishbite, saying, In the portion of Jezreel shall dogs eat the flesh of Jezebel, and the carcass of Jezebel shall be as dung upon the face of the field in the portion of Jezreel, so that they shall not say, This is Jezebel. 2 Kings 9:30-37. The Book of Joel. Prophecy is approximately 820 BC, the judgment on Tyre and slavery. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Sidon, and all the coast of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried it into your temples, my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabaeans, to a people far off, for the Lord has spoken it. Joel 3:4-8. The fulfillment was in the year 332 BC, when Tyre was destructed, and after the siege by Alexander the Great, and all women and children sold in captivity. Even today there are many prophecies that are being fulfilled right now before our eyes, and many have longed to see. For verily I say unto you, many prophets and righteous men have desired to see the things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear the things which ye hear, and have not heard them. Matthew 13:17. You too can see and hear these prophecies right now. For more information, see the video description. Do you listen to God's voice?